Morning for the Fair Board meeting. Today's Tuesday, September 10th. It is just slightly after 8:30, and I will call this meeting to order. I'll begin by reading our legal notice as information for our audience. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Metropolitan Board of Fair Commissioners today, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the board's decision. To ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met, please be advised that you should contact your own independent legal counsel. We will begin by accepting or entertaining a motion to approve our minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 And aye. So the minutes have been approved. Our next order of business is public comment period. Is there anyone that signed up for public comment period? All right, seeing no one has signed up for public comment period, we'll move along to our monthly informational reports, beginning with our campus partners. So which one of our campus partners? Hey, go ahead. Nashville Soccer. Let's keep with the tradition. First up, thank you.
Good morning. Not much to report this month. So 2 weeks ago, we had our Green Day concert. Very successful. We never had any neighborhood complaints to our phone line or email line. This month, we have 2 regular season games, one Wednesday, September 18th, and one Saturday, September 21st. We've also got the American Heart Association annual walk. They're hosting it at our campus for the first time, so that's very exciting. I think it's actually the first walk we've ever had on the campus for Geodis. September 25th, we have our second annual Pup Cup, which is it's an event for Mars Pedigree Foundation, so it's lots of puppies playing soccer against one another. Delightful. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Any questions?
Nope, seeing no questions. Thank you very much. Next up, Dirk.
Good morning, everybody. Commissioners, Director Womack. Really a good report today for the mixed use. This is the first time in this first year that we've had the fair going on and residents living in the building, which has actually been really cool to see everybody's response to what's going on the campus and the excitement that Laura and her team have brought into the space. So we've got a couple dozen people already living in the building. We're very fortunate that Coliseum Way is substantially complete, and so that's the major access road that we're using to and from the parking garage, primarily from the Benton Avenue extension right before it gets blocked off, leading down into Wedgwood Avenue. So logistics-wise, I think it's been running really, really well. We, on the mixed-use side, have accepted most of the building at this point. We have floors 6, 5, and 4 from the top to the bottom ready for occupancy at this point. And now we're working with R.C. Matthews to accept over the next 3 to 4 weeks floors 3, 2, and 1 for the residential units that are available. So by the time I speak to this group next time, we hope to have the entire building ready for occupancy and for residents to be moving in. The leasing effort is still continuing to go well, and right now we're looking forward to opening Barista Parlor, the coffee shop that shares space with the leasing office. We believe they're going to be open for business sometime next week. We're still confirming that. We've got a meeting with that vendor tomorrow to figure that out. And then we continue to work on the leasing for the commercial space on the front. We're getting awfully close to a couple really cool concepts that will be engaging Fair Plaza once that is done. And we think, if we understand correctly, all the concrete work is pretty much underway. A lot of the landscape and hardscape will continue to be put in about over the next 7 weeks. So we expect by November, Fair Plaza will be substantially complete, which would be a beautiful front door to the building and to that part of the campus. So we're really pleased with the way things are going and the partnership we have with everyone here. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to ask the question. I hope everybody's having a darn good time. So I had to throw that out there. So where we are on the project, on Fair Park Phase 2, we have the entry out here on Nolansville. As soon as the fair's over with, we've got to do some upgrades there. We're going to be getting that underway. On infrastructure part 2, we've got the 3 components. Dirk just gave you an update on Fair Plaza Speedway Alley, Continuation Road. So we have Windgrove and the Continuation Road projects. The other 2, those are in permitting and all that's going well. We're coordinating with WEGO and NDOT. We are going to be consulting with TDOT on Friday, so that should provide us some good insight, and then we can just complete the permitting and move on into construction. I don't need to say any more about Coliseum Way and up there at Fair Plaza. That's going to be a great addition to the campus. Some additional projects that we've been working on and we are working on. So we've got the Lot 2 survey that's completed, and we're going to be pushing that into permitting here soon. Over at Lot 11, where most of the midway rides are now, we're gonna come back and put in some new lighting in there. It won't be anything fancy because there's a future development there, but we want to put something in that's semi-permanent and can withstand the time. And then this Thursday night, it's scheduled to dedicate the art sculpture. So we have that completed. It's ready to go and show, and so we're looking forward to that on Thursday night. The budgets for all the projects, Ed's not here with Pillars, but all the budgets are in good shape. We've spent a lot of work on those over the past 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So everything's good there. All the invoicing's coming in, all the reporting's coming in, and everything's in good shape. So that's all I have for now. Any questions?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And Bob, yes, Rob.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The season's winding down for us. We, at the racetrack, have just 2 more races, October 5th, and we're doing some specials for cancer awareness in schools and things. So we have that event, a local show, and then our big event of the year, the All-American 400, the first week in November. So those are the 2 that we have left. Again, been a really good year for us. Everything's been going well. We're working towards 2025 now, working with soccer and everyone on schedules. So, again, this is the time of year that we're very busy finishing all that up. And that's really what's going on with us. Just a few more practices left also. So I think Laura's put out that schedule. And anything else you've got questions?
For next year, when do you think the track will open next year?
My eyes are terrible. We have slated right now to open April 4th, first week of April. It's the 4th and the 5th, actually. Yep. Okay, thank you.
A question. So piggybacking off of that, so I know that there's supposed to be some discussions on like next steps. Do you have any updates on that?
No, I mean, we have ideas. So you mean next steps as far as
Next year? What is this next year going to look like? What is it? What do you anticipate? How do you want us? Do you have any recommendations for us on how you would like to move forward?
I think last year you had asked for some ideas for improvements and some rehab things. I would like to present that again. This year we did do the scoreboard, sound system, so some of that's been upgraded. We always work on parking with Laura and things like that. So I know that the Bristol thing is always a big question hanging over us. So we kind of sit and work with them and wait and you guys on that. So depending on budget, maybe I could present, a smaller amount to the larger amount to future things like that to you. Was that?
Well, what I would prefer is you just tell us what it is that you need in order to be successful. And then we can that way it'll give us something to take a look at and take a stab at, to figure out what we can and cannot do. And then maybe prioritize those things as well.
Okay.
But if you can give us an overall list of what it would take for you to be successful, this upcoming year. But then also thinking about the racetrack, the Bristol deal that we voted on over a year ago. what would happen if the Bristol deal does take place in the middle of your race season? Or what, can you lay out some pros and cons if we wait any longer? Like, what is the drop dead deadline that, because my thing is that this will be the second year that we've potentially gone into a racing season where it's been a cloud hanging over our heads, as to like the uncertainty and possibility, of if we enter into a Bristol deal, will you be able to continue the rest of your year? Or what are the stipulations that we should be outlining in upcoming agreement?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I thank you for asking these questions and being engaged like this. It has been a question in my mind and the racing community's mind since the Bristol thing has evolved. And we've taken the approach that we're going to go forward, and continue our planning like that. They would work with us to prolong some construction till the end of our season. In a case that wouldn't happen, we would have to work with them. Fortunately, we have a good relationship with them, and we've already discussed a lot of this with them. Again, not being privy to a lot of the internal things, but we're taking for granted that construction would take a bidding process and planning, zoning, and all the above, and take quite a few months to evolve. So with our schedule planned on being done in 25 in November, we would hope and ask that any construction would be scheduled for the end of our season. That's our plan right now, is to continue to work with them on something of that nature.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yep. Good. Thank you.
Good. Okay, thank you. So next up, we'll have our capital project update, which I think we've already had, right? Yeah, we already did that. So division update. So executive director's report.
First of all, I want to take the opportunity to thank staff. They have worked incredibly long hours to put on this wonderful fair. It gets better and better every year, and we have received numerous compliments about the layout, the content, the programming. It's just been the weather has cooperated, and it's just been a delight to see everybody pull together. So I want to thank my staff. And also, we would not be able to put this fair on without the support of our family farms and our many volunteers. We also have vendors who come back year after year and have, even in state fair days. We had a vendor that is doing some programming outside come in and help us paint yesterday, because it takes a village. So I really do want to, I can't overstate the impact that our staff and volunteers and family farms have made. So just from the bottom of our hearts, we thank them tremendously. One of the things that we're waiting for upcoming conversation is a memorandum of understanding with transit. This is in relation to our Windgrove Avenue project. This is the inbound bus station. Now, while it's not on our campus, it's adjacent to, and it's intimately related to the intersection work at Windgrove and Nolensville. So it makes sense to do all these projects together and to coordinate for efficiency and money savings. So we are still working through that because the bus stop and that work is in a floodway. So there are very specific stormwater rules that we need to follow. And so we're just working through the final design on what that bus stop looks like, especially since it has to cross such a busy street like Nolensville. So we're still working on that with MTA and NDOT, and hopefully we'll bring that to you in October. I did want to mention that in addition to the All-American, which is that first weekend in November, we will be hosting again the Speedway Hall of Fame induction banquet. That is scheduled for November 6th, so we'll get you details in the event you would like to attend that. And then in relation to the conversation with the Speedway for next year, and I had informed you earlier about our intent were to do a license agreement with Bob for 2025. This is similar to what we have done with all of our other events that we run through contracting. So we'll be proceeding with Bob in that manner for 2025 with his schedule, and we're just finalizing those dates. So if there's no questions, I think that's all I have.
I'll make a question, or not a question. I just wanted to echo, you guys are really tired right now because you're at halftime of the busy event of the year. So just know that we recognize and appreciate that. So just keep your good work up. I just wanted to say thank you.
So next we'll have our finance report.
Hello, everyone. The financial information presented today is preliminary, and our revenues and expenses for August 2024 may not have been recorded to the ledgers as of September 9th, 2024, when this report was created. Revenues through August 2024 are as follows. We have collected $354,400. We have expensed around $491,100, resulting in a net gain of approximately $136,700. Depreciation expense is zero, as it hasn't posted yet. So the net gain is roughly $136,700. The next section is our annualized budget. It's a snapshot, a summary of what we project our revenue and expenses will be for the year. That section does not change typically unless there's a circumstance, so it stays the same. We'll move on to the revenue by division. As mentioned last meeting, that we'll be comparing apples to apples. So you will see the year-to-date budget, which is 2/12 of the fiscal year, which is 17%. So 17% of the fiscal year has passed. So all of the year-to-date budgeted amounts reflect such. So you have flea market is budgeted for 17% to collect $174,400. However, we have collected $59,400. $56,000 has not posted to the ledgers yet, so the variance there will come down. Corporate sales, the budgeted amount for revenue is $281,250. We have earned $259,900. Again, our revenues have not been posted. We have about $47,000 that has not posted. The fair's budgeted revenue is $106,000. We have earned $13,200, which is mostly entry fees and booth rent. None of the revenue that was earned for the weekend has posted. We earned roughly $90,000 in revenue this past weekend, and that is on par with last year's revenue collection. Contracts, the revenue budget is $50,400. We have earned $22,000. Our major revenue source for contracts is the ground lease, which is $200,000. We expect to receive that payment in January 2025. So you will see the variance there due to not having collected any money for the ground lease. For expenses by division, for the most part, we are within budget at this point. However, you will see corporate sales is slightly over budget. However, that is due to some allocation. There needs to be some reallocation of water bill and stormwater that hasn't occurred yet. So they will be within budget once the allocation happens. The next section is the gain and loss, and pretty much that is indicative of the first section. It just tells more detail of where the gain and the loss is coming from. So flea market, there is they as of now are contributing 25% to the loss. You have division fair, which is contributing 88%, and contracts 5%. For our agent report, we have approximately $54,700 in outstanding invoices. All of the promoters have been contacted and invoiced. Do we have any questions?
Satrice, thank you. I had some pre-questions, so I only have one. On the revenue by division, thank you for that explanation. So are you modeling on so this is showing, it's showing it in chunks year, month over month, but obviously our revenue is very cyclical, or it's I can't use words this morning apparently. It goes up and down. Mm-hmm. Is that in the modeling? And when so for example, when you say like we have a variance of 115 under in flea market, is that just showing like straight line 2/12 of the year, or is that recognizing the changes and variances in the revenue over the course of the year?
It's straight line.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
So I have a question. So, the first question is, based off of the events that we have, do you look at the potential revenue that's coming in every month for the events based off of what the monthly expenses will be? So to make sure that the events are actually making money to help cover the bills at the end of the month.
With the way that we're presenting the information now, that is what we're moving to, because now we're able to isolate and say these are the expenses that are associated with said revenue. We have not gotten to the point where we're going by each individual event.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, cool. Thank you.
On the agent report, how do we contact those vendors? Do it letter, email, or phone call?
My understanding, it is by email and phone call. That's how they are contacted.
And are you aware of any response that they give?
I am. So every month I send out this information to our events manager, and I asked him to give a status report of where we are. And so when I come to you guys, when I say they have been invoiced and contacted, that is what I've received back from the events manager. Now, if you would like more detail, I can get that from the events manager, but that is pretty much the extent of what I receive.
Let's add that if you don't mind.
Add the detail?
Yes.
I will.
All right. Thank you.
Just one follow-up. Following your comment, Jasper, I think that's really good, and start thinking about that. Looking in this second section, this is what I'm just laser focused on, is ultimately to get out of the red. And this is, Satrice and I were kind of talking about this before the meeting, like either the divisional fair has to make significantly more money, or we just have to operate at a loss and other things have to cover it. So I think it's good. We're going to hopefully see the revenue trend upward over the next couple of years and continue to sort of properly allocate those expenses as we kind of fine tune each particular event. But at some point, either the fair has to make significantly more money or it operates at a loss and everything else kind of covers it. So it's good to be thinking about that and trying to figure out how much we can lose on this event to power these other events based on our charter. So that's the most important table for me. So thank you again for Satrice for providing it.
Any other questions or comments? Nope, we're good. Thank you. Thanks. Next, we will have personnel report.
I can take this. So I think Anthony and I are the personnel subcommittee of the Fair Board, and we've got a meeting scheduled. Laura has helped to schedule it. It'll be after this meeting, before the next Fair Board meeting. So I don't know the exact date, but we'll be meeting there and sort of having our kickoff to kind of organize that subcommittee.
Cool, thank you. And operations.
No updates, unless you'd like to hear from Scott about fair.
Yeah, which yes.
Oh, sorry, it was already on. We had a wonderful weekend, beautiful weather. Did get a little windy on Saturday, so it made trash pick up a little hard, blowing everything around. But it was awesome. If you get a chance, the activity hall, we added a lot of new exhibits in there this year, which were well attended. A lot of folks worked, had a lot of hands involved in that. Our goat exhibit, our duck races. Outside, of course, we added free bounce houses this year right outside here in the courtyard, which has helped tremendously in the traffic flow and allowing families with the smaller children to be able to have something to entertain them if they're not big enough to be on the carnival rides. So we're pleased with everything, attendance being up for the fair for the first weekend. We really couldn't ask much more. Carnival reported they're slightly up in revenue, so that's a good sign. Like I said, it's going to be a slow process, but I think we're moving in the right direction with adding new areas and events, just trying to get traffic flow. We also added over here in our top of our courtyard some kiddie rides, which helps draw folks down to kind of make a loop through our courtyard. This last weekend, it was a really good courtyard flow of folks, so we couldn't have asked for much more. Again, I echo what Laura said. It takes a village of folks to be able to put the fair on. It's not just volunteers and workers. It's our vendors that get involved. They help out. Our trusts over here that we put up, our vendors came over and helped put that up because they do that every week with their food stands. So we're just very blessed to be able to have a lot of folks that really care about the fair. And hopefully, like in the future, we can definitely make it profitable. It's just going to take some time and hard work. And opening ceremonies went well. Report the mayor's been here twice. Came another night, I think Saturday night. Had a really good time. And it's really good to just see folks come out and enjoy their community fair. So, any question? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. One thing I would like to, before we move from operations, I was looking over our previous notes, and I think during our board retreat, we had discussed and asked for a list of RFPs that are pertaining to this property. I don't know if we can have that list for the next meeting, any current RFPs with their expiration dates, on it, and what their dollar amounts, are. Could we have that report for the next board meeting?
I guess I need some more clarification. Are you asking for RFPs that we are currently working on?
No,
the ones
RFPs.
that I've emailed you all about?
The RFPs that are currently in operation over this property, anything.
I get maybe this is word choice. So like maybe the agreements that like once we finish the RFP, then go into contracts. So the existing contracts, I think, is what Jasper's
a
asking
contract
for.
list.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So next we will move on to old business. There's no old business listed. So going forward, new business, food and beverage services contract.
So as you know, we've been working on this RFP since April of 2023. We are finally in the home stretch with getting this contract finalized. Sent you scope of services a couple times just because of the length of the process. I think the last time we sent it out was towards the first of the year. That scope of services has not changed significantly through negotiations, through the RFP process. There's been some legalese adjustments that Metro Legal has helped with. The biggest piece in what I have shared with you is the revenue sharing piece. So originally in the RFP response, there was a revenue share that was like concert type of events, and then everything else. And so that has evolved through negotiations to what you see here, which is consistent, or what I sent you on email. I've got a scope of services for everybody. If you'd like a copy, just a reference on the last page, that's what I'll be referencing. It's what I sent you on email. But essentially, we've kind of simplified the revenue sharing between, coincidentally, between us and municipal, and it's performance-based. I do prefer this type of revenue share pricing structure because, as we are more successful, as we work harder, as we do better, as our food and beverage service is better, we make more revenue, and therefore our revenue share percentage increases. So I'm a big fan of this type of pricing structure, and I appreciate Southern Hospitality working with us on this rather than having a straight percentage no matter what happens on campus. So with that, I'm going to ask if for your consideration and authorization to allow me to execute this contract when it is routed. I believe as of yesterday, everybody has accepted the draft, and we are ready to go through DocuSign.
I'm sorry, Laura. Can you just remind me where we can see the revenue split in here?
It's on the very last page.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Just flip the whole document over.
I got you.
There
I
you
read
go.
this before, and that's what I couldn't find.
And just as a reminder, from the previous contract was 32%. So as you can see here, it is not too far off of that. And actually, depending on what our gross is, it's higher of a percentage than what we've been looking at. And we're very confident that we can grow that and capitalize on their expertise, especially with festivals and large volume sales.
So what mechanism, what's being used to sort of monitor the revenue that's coming in?
Our as part of the scope of services, they're required to provide us a very detailed report from their point of sale system. So essentially it's audited once a month as we receive our revenue share commission payment. They send over the backup. That is how it's currently done and what is required in this contract as well. And Cetrice will review it, reconcile it, handle any discrepancies with the company, and they're also required to provide us with a certified audit at the end of the year.
Any other questions? Nope. All right. Well, that's it. Do we have any other business to discuss?
Chair, if I may,
Yeah.
I think you need to vote to authorize her to execute the contract. I think that's what Ms. Womack was requesting.
So moved.
Second.
So it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. So that's it.
Cool.
So it's been approved. All right. So is there any other business that we need to discuss? All right. Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any opposition to adjourning? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.